Hello and welcome to Exploring Computer Science with Mr. Watts. Today we're going to make the rock, paper, scissors program in Scratch. In this tutorial we're going to have the user pick rock, paper, or scissors by clicking a sprite. In order to do that, we're going to have a sprite for each of the choices, rock, paper, and scissors. We're also going to need a separate sprite for the computer. So let's jump in here to Scratch. I've got an untitled project here. I'm going to name it rock, paper, scissors, and I'm going to call it, well, just tutorial for now. So we're going to need a couple of sprites. We're going to need computer. There's a nice computer sprite there. The laptop. I don't think I'm going to use the cat. For my other three sprites, I am going to just simply choose letters. So there's a letter. We can use this R. Where is the R? There we go. Rock. We need another sprite for paper. So we'll do the letter P for paper, and a third sprite for scissors. We'll use the letter S. Not very fancy, but it does the job. I'll put these here on the side, rock, paper, scissors, like that. And I think in this tutorial I'm only going to implement the rock side, and I'm going to let you implement the other two choices. It's very similar. So let's start with the rock. When the green flag is clicked, I always do this on all of my programs. When the green flag is clicked, go to wherever I am, where I set myself. That's a great place to start. And I'm not going to have multiple costumes in this. I'm not going to be turning. So I think that's all I have to do. But I am going to do a lot of hiding and showing. So I'm going to go ahead and show when the green flag is clicked. And then the next thing I have to do is respond to when I am actually clicked. So when this sprite is clicked, keep forgetting that comes too small for you to read. So when this sprite is clicked, there we go. When this sprite is clicked, I want to let the computer know that this sprite was clicked. So I'm going to broadcast a message, and I'm going to be very specific. I'm going to make as the message that rock was picked. I'm actually going to tell the computer exactly what was picked. So when this sprite is clicked, we're going to let the computer know. And I have to show the user what was clicked. If I just click on the rock, it broadcasts that message. You saw that blip there maybe. But it doesn't give me any visual indicator. What I'd really like to do is hide these other two when I pick rock. So let's do that. When I receive rock was picked, I want to hide. Now I'm also going to need that green flag stuff here. When green flag clicked, I need to show, and specifically I want to be in the position that I am right now. Doesn't really matter what order you do those. So that should hide when the rock was picked. Scissors needs exactly that same code. I'm just going to drag it over. And now, if I click the rock, notice that the other two hid. So that's going to be a pattern. If I ever want to get that scissors to show again, when the green flag clicked, I'd better go to the right position and show. So rock, paper, scissors. If I click rock, the others go away. If I click paper and scissors, they don't go away. They're each going to need their own messages. You know what? Let's just do that. When this sprite is clicked, that one's done. So we need to do a when this sprite is clicked. For this one, we want to broadcast that paper was picked. And when this sprite is clicked, we need to broadcast that scissors is picked. We still need the hide and show for the other ones. I'm not going to take the time to do that now, but we'll just green flag. We can pick rock safely. And if we click the others too, the messages work, but they don't hide. That's just more when I received these kind of commands to do that. At this point, I'm going to call rock, paper, scissors done. I'm going to jump over here to the laptop. When the green flag clicked, motion, go to X, Y. This one, we're going to be doing a lot of costume changes, so we're going to switch costume to laptop. Let's go work on the costumes for the laptop. It needs all the costumes. We could just add them here, or we can copy them from here. I'm going to copy them from here. I'm going to actually call that costume rock. It'll make the code easier to read. I'm going to call that costume rock. I'm on the rock now. And then I'm going to drag that over to the laptop. And that's now the laptop looks like R. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to rename that paper. And I'm going to drag that costume over to the laptop again. And similarly, scissors, and drag that costume over to the laptop. Now, if we look at the laptop, we see that it has 4 costumes. The first is the laptop. Second, third, and fourth are rock, paper, and scissors, respectively. So when the green flag is clicked, I want to switch the costume to laptop. And now I need to make 3 message handlers. When I receive the message that paper was picked, well, I need to pick at that point. And so I'm not going to cheat, but I'm going to do a simple switch costume. And I could switch costume to one of those every time and always win, but I need to be fair about this. So I'm going to go to operators and choose pick random 1 to 3. Now here's an important part. I actually don't want to do pick random 1 to 3. If I look at my costumes, 1 is the laptop, 2 is rock, 3 is paper, 4 is scissors. So I want to pick random 2, 3, or 4. Could reorder my costumes and pick 1 to 3. But for this example, we're going to do pick random 2 to 4. So anytime that happens, I get one of those random costumes, paper, scissors, rock. You can see they're coming in random orders. We start as a laptop. So that gives me the 3 different possible costumes. Make sure that part's working before you go on to the rest. Now, if the player picked rock, we need to figure out who won. And it depends on what we picked. And so we're going to use some if-then-else questions. And I'm actually going to refer you to this block diagram. The player picked rock. Now the computer has picked. And we have this if-then-else question. I've got to ask some sort of question that is going to tell me whether it's a tie, or whether the player wins, or whether the computer wins. Let's ask for the tie question first. So back to our project. We need 3 if-then else's. I'll just pull one of them out of the control section. And now I know that the player picked paper. And so to make it a tie, that would be that the computer picked paper. I can tell what I picked by looking at my costume. And I will do it using costume name. So costume number is a thing, but you can change it to costume name. And then I need an equal operator. That will fit in here. So if my costume name is scissors, then the computer wins. Oh, no. I want, if my costume name is paper, then that should be a tie because paper was picked. The player picked paper. And so costume name of paper would be a match. Let's say it's a tie for 2 seconds. I'm going to, the next section is going to be very much the same, but this time we're going to ask one of the other 2 questions about who won. So let's duplicate this. This represents that second block here, CPU equals scissors. So we did the tie. Now we want to do when the player wins. So let's jump back to our code. Coming back here to the player wins. Well, if the player played paper, the computer would have had to have chosen rock in order to lose. So this is now the player wins for 2 seconds. And the last one, let's see, do I even need to ask that last question? It's either going to be a tie, the player's going to win, or I don't even have to ask another question. I can just say the computer wins. Now, what happens when any of those things happen? We might want to change a score. I will let you figure out how to do that on your own, other than hint that you need a couple of variables to do that. And it would be nice to animate something or change some colors to make it more obvious who wins. You can figure out how to do that. This is the code for if the player picked paper. The code for if the player picked rock is exactly the same, except that these words start to change. Rock. Let's see. The player picked rock. The player would win if the computer picked scissors. And I'm done with that. Copy that one more time. And we'd be completely done. I'm not going to do that. Matter of fact, I'm going to toss that code away. Instead, I'm going to go back to one other thing. You remember that everybody hid? When we clicked rock, the other 2 hid. We need to get those to show again. So how would I get them to show? Well, the laptop's done scoring and telling me who won. Let's just send another message. Messages are a good way to do it. Let's make this new message be maybe next turn. Okay. So broadcast next turn. All of these, when they receive next turn, need to show, and I'm going to just copy it from there. When I receive next turn, I need to show whether I'm a rock, a paper, or a scissors. So now when I click rock, we get some computation going. Oh, let's see, rock was picked. Let's jump over to the laptop. That one should have been rock, which means this one should be tie would be rock. A player wins would be scissors for the computer. Now if we click it, it should all work. Rock. He chose S, the player wins. rock, scissors, the player wins. Rock, paper, the computer wins. Rock, paper, computer wins. I'm waiting for a tie just to check it. There we go. It's a tie. We have all three possibilities. That didn't show me who won for very long. On your project, you're going to need to enhance that. So I'll leave it up to you to figure out how to make the rest of this work. It's just a lot of copying and a little bit of changing to get things, all of the things hiding and showing where they're supposed to. And on next turn, I think the computer needs to switch costume to the computer again. And maybe say something like, click or rock, paper, or scissors. There we go. Green flag. I click rock. The player wins. Switch back to a computer. Everybody shows. And it gave that message. That message went away pretty fast. Maybe it would be better to use this say command. So that instruction hangs out. And I'm going to do one more thing here. I'm going to put a when I receive next turn right there, and broadcast next turn right there, so that when the green flag is clicked, click rock, paper, or scissors, and that's going to just hang out there as long as I am sitting here. Click rock, paper, or scissors, and until I click something, and then it tells me that the computer won and jumps back to that message. So pretty simple code. We need to copy this and change the words for the other two options. Good luck with your project, and we will see you again next time.